To what? 5?
4 minutes. Six, seven. Okay, so we're gonna be back. I feel like I'm time traveling here. And King 9 offsuit. It's a decent hand to go ahead and try to make try to pick up a little pot here. We get played back on by Scross, which just sucks. We're probably not ahead, but we don't want to just fold because he's making it really hard for us to fold here. I mean, he's making even less than min raise here. We're getting 3.5 to 1 to make the call. The problem is, what are we hoping for? You know, I think that it's okay just to fold here and just, you know, let him beat up on us a little bit. That's fine. You know, we're gonna go down to 6th. And I think we're at 6th place now, 6th out of 10. And now, once again, we don't really have a great beaten up stack. You know, we like those stacks where we can beat up on the guys, and we just don't have it. You know, we just keep on having Leonidas and Scross play back at us, which really sucks. But at this point in the tournament, I mean, this is real money on WSOP.com. These are Vegas pros, which are, you know, in my opinion, are the strongest pros in the world. We got to expect that they know what they're doing and they're playing well. You know, so we got to kind of expect that they're going to be playing back at us with weak hands and, you know, applying pressure and playing good poker. And so, you know, now we actually have a hand that's not bad, King Jack suited. If BCM Claw just shoves over the top of us, we have no idea what to do. But an argument can be made for calling. You know, but there's also nothing wrong with folding. It's just king high, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and shut down the lobby. We're back to 5-handed. We got Leonidas still making these weird, stupid, you know, 3 times the big blind raises. We got, you know, Bic 1048, probably making a little snipe at us watching our stream. We got BCM Claw, which, you know, seemed to be playing pretty well, but I kind of feel like he's one of those players that we were just talking about that just hit a wall and has been kind of blowing up and making some pretty unorthodox plays that I would just say are wrong. Here we are, hand for hand, waiting for the final table. So we got Scross making a min raise against Leonidas. We got BCM Claw just making the shove. We'll give it a fold. Yeah, Speaks. I don't think that we're going to be able to obscure this too much once we get to this stage of the tournament. You know, if they know what we're playing and what we're playing for, there's really only 2 tables it could be. So it's not going to be too hard to obscure. That's a situation just now that we had 4-2 of spades that it's very tempting to go ahead and make a pre-flop raise and try to take it down. Given that Scross already just made that min raise and got us to fold, he might let us get one through. So this is one of those spots, you know, we're right in the middle of the pack. We don't have any sort of stack that we can beat up on anybody. We don't love our spot. You know, our spot is one of those situations where we're sitting here with 23 big blinds, and we're going to we're not gonna just blind down at this point, but you know, there is a really big equity difference between going out 10th and making the final table. Once we actually make the final table, the whole dynamic changes. And at that point, we're looking at competing for $2,000. So, everyone gets a redraw. We get to look at the short stacks and look at the big stacks, and the whole thing changes. So, in order to really win this thing, you have to at least get to the final table. I don't really like the spot I'm in. I've got the other two big stacks that can hurt me at my table are to my left and two to my left. One to my left, two to my left. So in order to really hurt the small stacks, I have to get through them. That sucks. So what's the strategy here, guys? The strategy here is just to basically the same strategy that we had with 16 players. Is we just kind of wait and hope for a really monster hand, because this isn't really working. Raising the minimum and just getting 3-bet by Leonidas and Scross isn't looking good. We're looking like our pre-flop raises are losing credibility every time we fold here. Leonidas is somehow becoming the guy to beat, which is dangerous. He's gaining confidence. We've got these guys who are just, BK 1048. Is that the right shove? Yeah, I mean it probably is. Let's look at the lobby here. So, BK 1048 is in last place.
Is your lobby covering?
It was for a second, but yeah. It's fine. So here we fold. We hope for some blood. Really, we're rooting for BCM Claw, which happens. Are we at a final table, boys? We're at a final table. Nicely done. Fist pump. Thank you, boys. Let's make this happen. Final table time. Always nice. And we get reseated, redrawn, and as luck would have it, we get to play right behind the button. Let's just take a look here and see what's going on. So we are in 7th place. We've got W Magic 2 and Moan Like Moon ahead of us. What's the strategy here? 7th out of 9. And the strategy is we're just going to kind of lay back for a little bit and try to see what we can pick up. We're not going to avoid situations where we think that we're going to be ahead, and we're probably going to be making moves against the spots that we feel like we can steal from. We don't have to start stealing right off the gate, but we can. There's nothing saying that raising to 12,000 and risking 12,000 to risk to win 14 is bad. This could work. It doesn't have to work even 50% of the time for us to show a profit here. So frustrating. Do we play back at him? No, we don't. We just fold. Take it like a little pansy. Let him go ahead and take our chips. Frustrating. And here we are with the tween stack. The tween stack that we keep on talking about. It's the upper range of the tween stack, 15 big blinds. So it's not that bad. 14 big blinds, is that what we're at? 60, yeah. 13 and a half, 13, 14, 13 and a half big blinds. Right in the middle of the tween stack. And then we got Moan Like Moon, who decides to limp in, which can never be right. We keep on talking about how an open limp is just horrible. The deeper you get into a tournament, the worse it is. And this is just horrible. You can kind of make a case for aces, and that's the only hand where this isn't just a really bad move. But even aces, you should raise. Raise, man. What are you doing limping in here? It's just asking to be re-raised. It's just asking to have someone take the pot from you. It's like you might as well just say, here, have 6,000, have some free money. Who wants free money? Take it. That's what Moan Like Moon is doing there when he limps. So, yeah, that's actually good for us. We've got confirmed fish on our right, confirmed fish across the table. And we like it. We got BCM Claw, which is probably a sniper, sitting out. And yeah, guys, thanks for thanks for joining me here. It's always a fun ride when you make a final table. So far, we've done 2 of these streams and made we're 2 for 2 for making final tables, which is always pretty nice. We're in a good spot here. Even though we're 7th, it's 8th out of 9th. We have enough to really make some play, make some moves. Probably what we're going to be doing here is, unless we find a spot where we can 3-bet shove with what figures to be the best hand, or 3-bet shove with a hand that figures not to get called, we're probably going to go ahead and let ourselves get eaten up a little bit until we get down to about 10 big blinds. Which actually, the blinds are going to be going up. It's so funny when you look at these structures. Because a little while ago we had we had the structure go from like 1,400, 2,800 to 1,500, 3,000, which was just a super small jump. And now we're going from 3,000, 6,000 to 4,000, 8,000, which now we're at the final table and we're increasing the blinds by 33%. That makes 0 sense. Someone needs to just shake the tournament directors over at WSOP.com, because wow, you guys, what the hell? Why are we going up from, why are we having a 33% jump at this stage? Anyway, you'll notice that the antes are pretty small in comparison to the small blind. We can go ahead and, take a few orbits off, try to wait for a hand that figures to be the best before we start making moves. But, really we're going to have to start, shoving all in with our stack, because we really don't want to get too much below 10 big blinds. And we do have enough in front of us to really do some damage to anybody who would happen to call and either be wrong, or call and be right and still lose because we catch up. So there's still a lot of pressure we can exert against pretty much anybody. Even Sam Adams doesn't want to lose 80,000 of his stack. We lose if we lose an orbit here, we're down to 70,000. Lose a couple more antes, we're down to like the 60,000 range. And we don't, our all-in shove isn't going to have quite as much power, but it's still going to have enough. We'll have 8 big blinds once that button hits us. So we can probably, if no spots become apparent between now and the next big blind and the next small blind, we're still probably okay. We're probably not going to get hurt too bad. We're going to go ahead and use a little time management here, and we get a walk. And that's so beautiful. We love it. This is when we just want to give Moan Like Moon a big hug. Yeah, and look at this. This is going to be a spot where if everyone folds to us, we're going to go ahead and take the shove. And hope that we're ahead. If we're not ahead, we hope we catch up. And we hope that we're up against a pocket pair instead of a bigger ace. Okay, good. Back up to 7th out of 9. We got an ace-3 offsuit. This is a tough spot. We got 16 big blinds. Leonidas is coming in with a min raise. Let's go ahead and see what his player notes said. Did we say what this guy was doing, min raising? I don't think we did. Here we're just rooting for blood. Come on, blood. That's funny. Grand Inquisitor. Is Moan Like Moon a reference to D Moon Girl? That's a good question. If I'm going to say no, just because of the way this guy plays, it makes me think that he is not familiar enough with poker to even know who D Moon Girl is. So let's take stock of what we just saw. So what we just saw was Leonidas raising minimum under the gun +1 and folding to a pretty small re-raise by Katie Ann. We're going to go ahead and put that in his put that in his notes and hope that he's consistent with these pre-flop raises. At final table, min raised UTG +1 and folded to a 2.5 times big blind re-raise from behind. So we got BCM Claw, who seems to be doing just fine. He's now back up to a 2.3 times big blind raise, which, I don't really like varying your pre-flop raise amounts. I really don't, guys. I think that it's a mistake. Do we try to get away with it here? 16,000 to win 19,000 at the final table. No, let's just go ahead and make the fold. It's jack high. We're in middle position. We've got enough of a stack that we can just kind of relax for a little bit. Now we're sitting here with 12 big blinds, which really is, it's such an awkward stack. If we make a 2 times big blind raise and then follow it up with a continuation bet like we should, then all of a sudden we're losing 25% of our stack. So we're probably better off just waiting until we actually have a shove or reshove hand or spot more than hand. And just kind of relax and wait and hope that a couple of these other stacks decide to duke it out. Because really all the stacks are fairly even. Anytime you get a confrontation where it gets a little bloody, equity rises for everybody else. So it's one of those things in poker where really there's it's almost kind of I don't know. You'll often see almost kind of an implicit collusion among big stacks to try to pick on the smaller stacks together and to kind of take turns. And again, anytime we see 2 stacks start ramming heads at this point in the tournament, it's good for everybody. It doesn't matter who wins or loses. Ideally, we'll see some of the weaker players win. But if really what we'd like to see is players bust out. Or if we're a monster stack, we just want to see everybody's average stack keep on going down while we continue to abuse the table. Unfortunately, we don't have the stack to abuse the table at this point. We got to kind of wait. If we do have a situation where we double up with some big hand, then we can start thinking about maybe abusing the table. And certainly if we're able to quadruple up with 2 really good hands back to back, then we can really start raping everybody. And that's when poker gets really fun. If we were in this situation and had something like 400,000 400,000 in front of us, then we would be raising almost every hand. This was an interesting fold. Ace-4 offsuit. Given that we've got Moan Like Moon, who's been playing pretty tight in the big blind, I think a decent argument could be made that maybe that was a decent steal spot. But I think it's also fine just to play the game plan that we've got, which is to go ahead and not try to force the situations, let them come to us, and wait until we get down to those into that shove range, where we're really not at that shove range right now with our tween stack. Stressful, you guys. Let's go ahead and take a couple deep breaths. We don't really know why Sam Adams is giving these guys a cheap flop. It doesn't make any sense. Actually, at this point of the tournament with the stack he's got, that is going to deserve a bony fish. A couple deep breaths. Let's go ahead and get back our. Let's pull out our full-handed no-limit hold'em bracelet. And since we are in a full-handed situation here, let's just kind of hold it for luck. Justin West in the chat. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Good to see you. Okay, so King Queen offsuit. That's a pretty good hand to have. Honestly, if Moon Like Moon shoves here, probably go for it. This is probably good enough where he could easily be making this move with any 2 cards, and we could be in a situation where we just have him dominated. So let's go ahead and horrible situation. Could we see a 10? Is it possible to see a 10? Wow. So that's a little bit of a cooler. We kind of figured to have more equity in that spot than we ended up having. It sucks quite a bit to have that hand right before the break. Now we just have to think about that for a while and think about how bad we got it in. Usually we're up against, at worst, like an ace-jack, ace-queen, where, At least we have 25% equity. Ugh, horrible. We hate that situation. I don't know why we think that King Queen is a good hand. But let's see. Let's assess the damage. We're going to be coming back with, 5 big blinds, about to be 4 big blinds. We're not really in a spot where we can let the big blind hit us again. So we're really just waiting for a hand to push with. Ugh. Horrid. God, that sucks. We're going to go ahead and take a little stretch. And we're going to come back in 3 minutes and 47 seconds. Thanks for joining us on the stream, and thanks for watching us make this final table. I'm going to go ahead and fire out a little tweet, and if you're watching this, why don't you go on Twitter, follow us @DutchBoyd is the username, and you can give a little retweet to this at the final and the $30 no limit rebuy on WSOP. WSOP Nevada. Twitch streaming with a 4-minute delay. Come watch us take this home. And we're going to twitch.tv/DutchBoyd. God, I hate losing that King Queen hand. Ugh. Horrible. Now we get to decide, now we just get to second guess ourselves too and think, maybe we should have folded. He did raise 4 times the big blind basically. He's telling us that he's got King Queen beat. We decided to come along for the ride, but I don't know. Sometimes it just doesn't feel that way. And you're in the moment. You make the moves that you make. I'm okay. Still in it to win it, boys. Let's do this. We still feeling shitty? Yeah, we're still feeling shitty. We're still feeling pretty bad about that one. Shake it off. Keep in mind that 40,000 is still enough to put a little dent in any one of these guys, and still enough to have a little fold equity. So all's not lost. We're waiting for a spot here. The sad thing though is I don't really think I do have fold equity. We're looking at 5 big blinds. If I'm any one of these guys on my left, I'm not folding. So it doesn't really matter. We just have to kind of proceed like we do. It's kind of on that fence where it folds around to them. Are they going to put it in with 7-4 offsuit? Probably not. But we have a lot less fold equity than we otherwise would have if we just didn't lose that huge hand. So here, do we have fold equity up against Samuel Adam? I think that, if everyone folds, I think that we have enough fold equity to go ahead and justify a shove. He probably calls and we just have to win. So that's a pretty good flop, pretty good turn. No ace, no 10. Fuck. God. so hard to lose it like that. You know, it's so hard to lose when it's almost easier when the ace comes on the flop and you don't have to just take that horrible equity beat where you just kind of get this tease like you're back in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're out. We're gonna go ahead and let this stream for another 4 minutes, and man, it hurts. It hurts to be us right now. It really does. So this is the end of the stream. Thank you guys for joining us. If you had a good time, you know, go ahead and hit that follow button right down there. Follow us on, you know, at Dutch Boyd over on Twitter, and you know, if you really want to help, go ahead and check out Poker Tilt over on Amazon, Kindle Store, Nook, iTunes, Barnes and Noble. You know, it's getting pretty good reviews. Here's what Johnny Monette, 2-time WSOP bracelet winner, says: a very compelling narrative of one of poker's most interesting and dynamic personalities. I can't make this stuff up. An excellent read that really gives an inside look at the times that were. I highly recommend this book, says Gavin Smith, 1-time WSOP, 1-time WBT bracelet winner. Lane Flack says, I haven't had time to look at it. I'm sorry. Quote something for me and I'll stand by it. Thank you, Lane. We will quote you on that. Jeff Matson says, Dutch's personal story is fascinating. A refreshingly unique perspective through the poker boom and beyond. Well put, Jeff. Why don't you go ahead and, you know, if you enjoyed the stream, hit the follow. Go ahead and, you know, retweet my next Twitch streams over out on Twitter. And yeah, this has been a good time. I'll take a couple of questions here. Thank you for your last stream, and thank you for the ebook you sent me. Vegas Clown, thanks for joining us. You know, it's great to be part of what I think is the future of poker. Speaks just as a pet hobby, gifting streamers moolah. I'll definitely think about giving you all money just to be watching me. I'm gonna have to do a little better than 9th place before I even think about doing that.